Hello, Virgo. I'm Anna, and the signals I'm intercepting around your connection right now, they're sharp, clear, urgent in a way that demands immediate acknowledgement. Warnings aren't punishments. They're information data your higher awareness needs you to register before certain situations unfold. And right now, there's a particular person in your energetic field whose behavior patterns might be approaching a critical juncture, one that could impact you significantly if you're not paying attention. The transmission attempting to reach you carries weight you shouldn't dismiss. Communication channels are lighting up, not metaphorically, literally. Your phone, your inbox, your social media might become conduits for a message that's been building pressure for weeks. And this message could arrive today, carrying intentions you'll need to decode carefully rather than accept at face value, because face value might be misleading. What I'm tuning into isn't straightforward. There's someone in your orbit, romantic partner, ex partner, potential partner, complicated situationship, whose internal world is creating external action. And that action might manifest as reaching out to you today with words that sound one way but mean another. Let me be direct about what warned implies. This person could be operating from mixed motives. Not necessarily malicious human motivation is rarely pure villain or pure hero, but possibly confused, possibly selfish, possibly saying what serves them rather than what serves truth. And if you receive their communication with an open, unguarded heart, you might miss red flags embedded in sweet packaging. So guard yourself. Not with walls, but with discernment. Hold on, let's sit with this for a moment. Here's what contact today might look like: a text that starts casual, hey, how are you, but carries agenda underneath, or a call that presents as checking in, but actually seeks something: validation, attention, forgiveness they haven't earned, access they shouldn't have. Or perhaps the communication is more direct: a confession, an apology, a declaration. Words you've been wanting to hear but arriving at timing that feels suspicious. Because sometimes people reach out not because they've genuinely transformed, but because their current situation shifted and you suddenly look appealing again by comparison. You deserve better than being someone's backup plan. What I'm sensing about this person's state of mind, they might be in reactive mode rather than reflective mode. Something happened, another relationship ended, an opportunity fell through, loneliness intensified. They saw you living well without them, and that external trigger is creating internal urgency. But urgency born from reaction rarely produces sustainable outcomes. It produces impulsive gestures, temporary clarity that dissolves once circumstances stabilize again. And if you respond to their urgency with your own, if you let their sudden attention override your hard-won boundaries, you might find yourself right back in patterns you worked so hard to escape. Is that where you want to be? Why do you think this person might be reaching out now, specifically? Let me tell you what the warning is actually about. It's not that this person is necessarily dangerous or evil. It's that they might be persuasive, might know exactly which buttons to push, which vulnerabilities to activate, which memories to invoke. They've studied you, whether consciously or unconsciously, and could deploy that knowledge strategically. And persuasion can override logic, can make you question everything you've learned during separation, can create momentary amnesia about why distance became necessary in the first place, can convince you that things will be different this time, despite zero evidence of actual internal change on their part. So the warning is, don't let words seduce you away from wisdom. Let's talk about timing for a moment. If contact arrives today, ask yourself, what's different now versus when they had access before? Have they demonstrated growth? Have circumstances changed in ways that remove previous obstacles? Or is this simply loneliness, nostalgia, or opportunism creating artificial urgency? Because if nothing fundamental has shifted, then their reach out is noise, not signal. Noise you can acknowledge without amplifying. You don't owe elaborate responses, don't owe immediate availability, don't owe reopening what you worked hard to close just because they decided today's the day they want back in. Your healing timeline matters more than their convenience. Here's what I'm also sensing. This person might be testing waters, not committing fully, but checking if you're still receptive, seeing if the door they walked through or you closed on them is still accessible, and your response will inform their next move. If you engage enthusiastically, they learn you're available. If you maintain boundaries, they learn those boundaries are real. Your reaction teaches them how to treat you moving forward. So respond consciously, not reactively, with awareness of what your words are actually communicating beyond their surface meaning. Are you teaching them respect or accessibility? What would honoring yourself look like in responding to this contact? Let me address something about the nature of warnings. They're not meant to create paranoia or suspicion that poisons every interaction. They're meant to activate discernment, your ability to see clearly rather than through filters of hope, fear, or wishful thinking. So, receiving this warning doesn't mean automatically rejecting anything this person says. It means listening with both heart and mind engaged, feeling what's true while thinking about what's wise, allowing space for possibility while maintaining protection of your peace. That balance is key, not closing off completely, but not flinging doors wide open either. Cracked doors allow observation before decision. Here's what I'm picking up about their potential message content. It might include apologies, and apologies can be tricky to assess. Some are genuine evidence of real remorse and internal work. Others are strategic words deployed to achieve specific outcomes without addressing root issues that created harm originally. How do you tell the difference? Genuine apology includes specifics about what they did wrong, demonstrates understanding of impact on you, and outlines concrete changes they're implementing. Strategic apology stays vague, centers their feelings, and promises nebulous doing better without actionable commitments. Listen for which type you're receiving. What I'm also sensing, this contact could trigger old feelings you thought you'd processed. and those resurfacing emotions might create confusion. If I still feel something, does that mean I should give this another chance? Not necessarily. Feeling something doesn't obligate action based on that feeling. You can feel love, attraction, nostalgia, curiosity, and still choose distance because you recognize those feelings alone aren't sufficient foundation for healthy relationship, especially if nothing else has changed. Feelings are data, not directives. Let's talk about what happens if you choose not to respond. That's valid, completely valid. You don't owe replies to everyone who contacts you, regardless of history. If receiving their message creates anxiety, confusion, or backward momentum in your healing, you're allowed to simply not engage. Silence is a complete sentence, and sometimes it's the wisest one. Particularly if you recognize that engaging would pull you back into dynamics you've been working to transcend, your progress matters more than their need for response. Protect your peace fiercely. How would it feel to simply not respond if contact arrives? Here's something else I'm picking up. This person might have received their own signs or encouragement from others to reach out. Friends telling them to shoot their shot, readings telling them reconciliation is possible, internal impulses they're interpreting as divine guidance. But their signs don't obligate your compliance. They can feel called to reach out, and you can feel called to maintain distance. Both can be true simultaneously. Their journey and your journey don't have to align just because they've decided it's time. You get to decide your own timing. Always. Let me tell you what this warning is ultimately about. It's about ensuring you're making conscious choices rather than default ones. That if you do engage with this person's contact, you're doing so from empowerment rather than reactivity, from clarity rather than confusion, from self love rather than people pleasing. Because how you respond sets precedent for this interaction and potentially many that follow. You're teaching them and yourself what you'll tolerate, what you require, what you're willing to compromise on, and what remains non negotiable. Those are high stakes lessons. Deliver them consciously. As I'm closing this reading, I want you to remember something. Warnings are gifts. They give you time to prepare, to center, to decide in advance how you'll handle situations rather than scrambling in the moment. So if contact does arrive today, you won't be caught off guard. You'll have already considered your response. And that preparation is power. Stay grounded. Stay clear. Don't let anyone's sudden reappearance destabilize the foundation you've been building in their absence. You've worked too hard to backslide now. And if this person is genuine, if they've truly changed, if reconciliation is actually healthy and aligned, that will become evident over time through consistent behavior, not through one persuasive message. So receive whatever comes with curiosity, not commitment, with openness, not vulnerability, with kindness toward yourself first, them second. Thank you for being here. If this resonated, share in the comments, are you expecting contact from someone? How will you protect your peace while staying open? The warning is the preparation. Use it wisely.